Most of us are concerned solely about muscle when it comes to training. That's all we ever think about. Most of the kind of bodybuilding world, powerlifting world, the only conversations that kind of being had predominantly, like 99% of the kind of population out there thinks it's all about muscle. Whoever's got the biggest muscle will perform. But it's not that simple. There's many different types of things that are involved in somebody squatting or bench pressing or overhead pressing or something like that. Whatever the movement, it's not just a muscular expression. We often say that it's a neuromuscular expression. There's a nerve component and there's a muscle component. The brain kind of talks to the muscle and then you have movement. And so most of the training that I kind of have been doing during this Squat Everyday program is around that neuro part. I've been kind of stressing the neural part of the neuromuscular expression, which is a 1 rep max or whatever the case might be. On top of all of this, we need to understand there are different types of tissues in the body, not just muscle. There's also bone, there's ligaments, there's tendons. And each of these has a different, let's say, recovery curve. So we all know that muscle is very perfused. It's very kind of touched. It's very accessible by blood, right? And so the better the circulation of that particular tissue, the better the recovery is going to be. So say like right now, we absolutely smash it on our, let's say, biceps, keep it simple. That muscle is going to get circulation as part of just existing, and it's going to recover in, let's say, 48 hours. And then you can hit it again. But if you think about tissues like a ligament, ligaments don't necessarily have a capillary network. They don't have arterioles and capillary networks feeding it. And so how does a ligament compare in terms of recovery to a muscle? It's going to be vastly, vastly different. And this is where I've been saying, and it's not just me coming up with this stuff. I got it first from Pavel Tsatsouline, then I got it from Matt Perryman. When you go into high frequency training, you will, I know it's anti-intuitive as hell, but you will start to feel less pain in your joints, and then eventually you're going to start feeling strong in your joints. Ivan, you're going to snap your shit up, man. You're going to snap your ankles, knees, back. You're going to snap everything up. That's the muscle brain thinking. That's the only thing that concerns me. It's muscle, muscle, muscle. There's other things. And so part of this high frequency training is that through movement, we are introducing circulation to some of these tendons and ligaments which we are concerned with, let's say the knee. But if you go and do a workout and you don't touch that workout, let's say you don't touch that bicep, touch that squat for a whole week, the muscle associated with that movement will get plenty of circulation, and that muscle will get stronger. Next time you come in, you're going to have a stronger muscle, but that ligament hasn't had a chance to repair because that ligament got circulation around the workout when we were moving, and then it completely moved away, right? Because movement introduces circulation to some of these structures, rest doesn't. Whereas with muscle, rest does have perfusion of blood. And so when we start thinking about all of these things, we got to be like, okay, so how do I optimize all of my tissue, different types of tissues, to get, let's say, optimal perfusion to performance, to building, to progressing? It's not just as simple as thinking about muscle. It's not. And so 16 days in, people are expecting me to rock up one day and be like, I'm snapped up. I'm not snapped up. My knees have never felt stronger. My hips have never felt stronger. I've had muscle imbalances from overuse in patterns and not kind of balancing it out with an equal opposite. I haven't been doing that for the squat. I've kind of worked it out recently. I've been feeling great. But that's all there is. My elbows feel good. My knees feel good. My back feels good. My everything feels good. That's because of frequency. That's because I understand that there's ligaments and tendons which require different types of frequency than muscle. And so how do we move on from that? Well, automatically, if you're a natural athlete, you need to start thinking about, okay, maybe I need to introduce a second or a third session, not for the sake of muscle, for the sake of these other tissues. So you can go ahead and do your thing and smash your thing once a week, but don't then retire that body part for the whole freaking week. Come back, hit it a second or third time, maybe suboptimally, right? In terms of muscle kind of periodization. Maybe you come in and you hit it 50% of your 1 rep max for a set of 10. Purely to think about motion greasing the groove, purely to think about perfusion of these other tissues. This is something that is not sexy. This is something that people don't want to hear about. But the reason why enhanced athletes, people that are on steroids, people that have increased anabolic status, let's say, their muscles get even better recovery than a natural athlete, right? So they can keep hammering it really, really, really hard. But they have a very high chance of injury because those steroids, those anabolics, don't do anything for your tendons and your ligaments. So the muscle graph of progression looks very steep, whereas the progression for the ligaments and the tissues, and let's say even bone, looks normal. And so you have this divergence on the graph where you have extremely strong muscles, say, after a given period of time, and you have a normal level of ligament strength like a normal person walking around the street not training ever. So you've put a V8 into a Corolla and you are surprised why the diff is left 3 blocks down the road. You cannot put a V8 into a Corolla and expect to run 9 quarter miles. Okay, you're not going to do that. There's many things associated. When I got into cars, I was like, top number is all I care. It's top number, man. Just give me the top. The guy with the biggest engine and the biggest kilowatt or horsepower output is going to win. It's not the case, man. There's traction, there's transmission, there's 1,000 different things involved. There's different tissues, like there's different car parts, okay? It's not just about muscle size and muscle performance. This is where we start to kind of put everything into a picture and be like, okay, I've seen a dude at 70 kilos lift 300 kilos in the squat. What the hell is going on there? Okay? I haven't even spoken much about the central nervous part. The central nervous system, the nerves, the neural anagram, skill acquisition is a completely different chat altogether. You guessed it, man. To learn a skill, we need to frequently practice it. You don't become a master of piano practicing it once a week. You're not going to get anywhere, man. These people practice every single day for hours upon hours, and it's a skill. Powerlifting seems like a very, very simple skill. But bodybuilding, all these movements that we kind of concern ourselves, it's nowhere near the complexity of a freaking piano player. But still, it's a skill. And the body doesn't care. It's still a skill they need to practice. We're not even talking about how you squat. It's about the neural firing of those individual motor units, okay? Down to a cellular level we're talking about. How is that nervous system firing in which sequence of that particular quad or muscle? It's down to a freaking science or a cell. This is something that I've learned through reading about some of these not so shallow kind of forms of text where it's like, oh yeah, bro, you just got to hit back and biceps once a week. That's kind of like if you're just concerned about mass and you don't care about pushing, let's say, big weight. But if you're concerned about squatting 300 kilos, man, it's not just about muscle. You learn that very, very quickly. Because when you load up a weight on your back and you go into an ATG position, it's not the muscle that oftentimes screams. It's like this instability. What is this instability talking about? It's not just a muscular thing. It's a nervous thing. It's a tendon thing. Like sometimes the body prevents you loading a particular joint because the tendons are freaking out or the bone is freaking out. There are tension receptors everywhere in the body. There are chemoreceptors. There are baroreceptors. These baroreceptors are like pressure kind of receptors everywhere in the body. There's receptors everywhere in the body. They're kind of like little spies around our body that kind of send information back to the nervous system. This is all subconscious, right? You don't have no control over it. And it's like, okay, we have trouble in the knee, so let's stay away from the knee. Let's prevent the body to go into a dorsiflexion because we're worried about the knee, and let's bend this guy over. Let's bend him over like freaking a good morning because we want to protect that joint. And you don't have no idea. I just can't get into this damn position. Why can't I get into this damn position? Because the body's protecting itself, man. The body doesn't give a shit about your 300 kilo squat. It wants to reproduce. It wants to last. These are some foundational ideas of the human body. It doesn't care about you running about a 100 meter sprint. It wants to stay safe. It wants to reproduce. And this is how a species has gone to 2022. Okay, these are some like innate organism kind of reflexes. This is how fascia then interacts. Like this, fascia is a weird thing. You know, a fascia is like, okay, let's lock this joint down. Lock it down. But why is it locking down? There seems to be a cause for everything. This is how I've kind of learned about my body. When something is really, really tight, it's not freaking happy, man. It's giving you pain. It's giving you tightness. You have to change your gait. You can't turn your neck. You can't flex your arm. You can't flex. It's a tightness. And when there's a tightness, there's a problem. It's like the body telling you, we're not happy with this status over here. You got to fix this. And a lot of people will go stretch it. Let's go stretch it. You can't stretch something that's unhappy, man. Happy things like to stretch. When you are scared, what happens when a child gets scared? It goes into a fetal position. It hides. It shrinks. When you are happy, you peacock. You spread your wings. You spread your shoulders. You lift your chin up. This is this is the basis of freaking psychology and biology. No one gets scared and then spreads their arm out. Like you can see somebody's depressed from a mile away. How they talk, how they walk, how they look at you, how their gaze looks away from you. It's all kind of there. And the same way we have to think about the body. What is happening there? What is happening? That's kind of how I think about all of these things. This is how I concern myself with. Today I came into the gym and I wasn't feeling good. Okay, and automatically my brain just starts dissecting some of these symptoms. And a lot of you guys are going to be like, you're overthinking. Well, man, did Einstein overthink it? I'm not saying that I'm Einstein, but you need to think, man. You can't just be like, oh, we just go down this road and hope for the best. No, man, you have to think. You have to think and work it out. Yes, you can get lucky and find the right road that gets you to your destination, but it needs to be an active process. I want to know why. A lot of guys are like, oh, just do your small off and don't think about it. Man, I've been there, I've done that. And then I got pain. And then what do I do with that? Oh, I just put the weightlifting whole thing away and walk out and just freaking go back into the house and play my video games. That's the safety thing. No, I've got to work it out. So today, went into the gym, feeling off. I'm thinking to myself, what's going on? 3 days ago, I hit a 265 kilo deadlift. In my mind, I know that is a very, very expensive expedition. All right, that's a very expensive day that I've spent. I went in there, my central nervous system was up and about, great news in my life, going, music pumping, people bouncing around, people bouncing over the walls. I come in, pull 265. I walk out feeling great. Recovery costs, bro, we have to rebuild this shit. You just smash the hell out of the erectors. In my experience, the slowest recovering body part that I know of is the lower back. And a lot of people, a lot of the bodybuilders, in terms of muscle, have also said the same. Because there's different types of muscle tissue again. Okay, I've broken down several different tissue types. And within these specific tissue types, there are subgroups of different tissue. So muscle of your eyeball, you don't get DOMs of your eyeball. You can blink 50 million times a day. You don't get DOMs. Extremely slow twitch fibers, that's all they do. This is them. You can't fatigue them out. But they're very weak. Very, very weak. The lower back is a strange thing, okay? It is capable of extreme strength, but if you push it past a certain threshold, it takes days to recover. My erectors, I can still feel them, okay? I can feel them. I can feel almost like my intercostals, man. Like the ribs are also hurting me a little bit, not to the same extent as erectors. And also I feel my traps and rear delts. And also my upper traps all the way to the neck. One freaking rep at 265. Now, bro science would say, you got to rest that shit up, man. Rest it. Don't do it for a week. Hell, 2 weeks. But I'm thinking to myself, what's happening to the ligaments, to the tendons? I have to introduce movement. This is where I wholeheartedly believe in training frequency. I'm not asking you to hit maximum weights, rigidly think about your program. I'm not asking that. I'm asking you to rock up, warm up, see what's up, and do what's possible. Read the symptoms. React to the situation at hand. Reactive training. Not dumb, blind training where you don't think. This is the core basis of my whole freaking philosophy, is to rock up, okay, and see what's up. Okay, we are playing the Memphis Grizzlies. Their best player is Ja Morant. Okay, heavy possession of the ball. He's always pick and rolling, running around. Okay, so we need to work out how to defend him. It's completely different strategy than playing against Djuric in Denver, where everything is run from a high post and it's all about backdoors and passing and post-ups. It's a different ball game. You need different personnel. Every single day you rock up to the gym, it might be a different set of circumstances. You don't know. So today I was like, okay, I ain't feeling it, man. I was hoping to hit 180 for 5 sets of 5 and whatnot. I'll go to 160. I'm like, this is it. This is where all we're going to go, because I know what my lower back is telling me. My lower back is telling me we ain't ready for this shit. Now you can push us, that's cool, but the more you push us, you're gonna have to pay these costs back. And if something snaps, you're out for 6 months. And we all know what lower back injuries are like. You can lose a whole freaking year. I had a scare when I was 20. I ain't never going down that path again. I don't care. If I never lift out another freaking PR, I would rather walk and play with my kids pain-free than be a numbskull full of pain and have maybe a 40, 30 kilo extra PR on a piece of paper, which no one gives a shit about anyway. This video could go on forever, but to summarize everything that I've said, there are different types of tissues. Think about the requirements for each of these tissues. You need perfusion. You need frequency to get perfusion to ligaments and tendons. This is why I continuously get messages from you guys. It makes me so happy. And this is exactly consistent with what Matt Perryman says and Pavel Tsatsouline says. You will begin to feel younger. You will have younger joints because of frequency, because you are introducing perfusion, nutrients, getting rid of the waste products to these non-vascular tissues of our body, which otherwise would never get any perfusion without movement. This is why my joints are not atrophied. They're not going to atrophy because I'm freaking moving. This is why in medicine we always say, you've done your hip, we've just replaced your damn hip, you're getting up that day, or the worst possible case, tomorrow, we'll get you on your feet, we'll load you up with pills, we want to get you moving. You need to move. Running water does not go stale. Bruce Lee said it many, many years ago. I don't know how much he understood that in terms of the science of it all, but man, that guy is correct. You gotta keep moving. Even when you are hurting, move. Just body weight movement, walk, squat onto a chair and back up. Movement is everything. I've got a whole bunch of names. I've got 3 names to mention now. Yesterday, I said Bradley Kahn, but I didn't write him on the screen for whatever reason. So I'm going to say it again. Bradley Kahn. And then I've got a guy that you guys probably, a lot of you guys won't be able to read it. It's written in Cyrillic. Alexander Shevchenko. So Alexander Shevchenko in Cyrillic. He actually messaged me and said, man, can you read Cyrillic? I can definitely read Serbian Cyrillic. I know there's Russian and I think Polish, Slavic kind of languages. Some of them are a little bit different and have different letters again, but I understood exactly what's written there. Alexander Shevchenko. Then we have Samuel Richards. Everyone can see that. Samuel Richards, 97. So 3 names I want to mention. Once again, I keep saying it. I'm absolutely blessed to have your support. Absolutely blessed to have your support. This is not getting old. This is still unbelievable to me. I have to kind of pinch myself and look at the list continuously growing. I'm simply grateful, thankful, and I literally feel like I've won the Lord. I keep saying that. I think about it every single day. I can't believe what's happening. I can't believe there are so many people in this world who will watch videos which are not touched by any professional editor. This is very, very vanilla, very raw. Just a bloke squatting, talking about his passions, talking about his ideas into a phone with some footage in the back, and you guys are appreciating it. That's, to me, unbelievable. I appreciate you guys. I got to cut this out because the black screen is probably blinding you all. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.